everyone, and welcome to this video. Today we're going to talk about one of the most political speeches in Philippine history. Corazon Cory Aquino addresses before the United States Congress on September 18, 1986. This speech came just 2 months after the peaceful People Power Revolution that ended the 2-decade rule of Ferdinand Marcos and restored democracy in the Philippines. Cory Aquino was thrust into the world of politics when her husband, Benigno Ninoy Aquino Jr., was assassinated in 1983. The event triggered the massive demonstrations and eventually the monumental People Power Revolution in February 1986. The revolution tapped President Marcos, and the new president was elected was Cory Aquino. In September of the same year, she was asked to address the U.S. Congress. Her address was not only to thank you the American, but also a strong assistance for the Philippines started to rebuild their democracy. Aquino's speech is remembered for its modest tone, emotive force, and definition of purpose. It started by paying tribute to her husband, describing him as a man who sacrificed his life for freedom. This instantly made her message personal and demonstrated that her leadership was based on the sacrifice rather than ambition. Restoration of democratic institutions was one of the main themes of the speech. Aquino referred to dismantling the repressive institution of dictatorship and re-establishing confidence in government via transparency, justice, and participation. She stressed that the revolution was won peacefully by the people's will and not through violence. What is so compelling about the speech is how Aquino bridged gratitude and urgency. She was grateful to the American people and government for the nation's help, but also went ahead and made an explicit plea for economic assistance and investment. The Philippines, she asserted, was once more free, but freedom by itself feed no hungry people or construct shattered institutions. She required assistance not for herself to do it, and she pleased, but for her nation. Another important aspect of Aquino's speech was how she redefined the image of leadership, especially as a woman in a traditional male-dominated political landscape. She did not come to power to force or ambition, but to the movement of grounded in moral courage and collective will. In many ways, her presence before the U.S. Congress symbolized the strength of peaceful resistance. Instead of promoting military power or political dominance, she championed the values of humility, justice, and people-centered governance. This made her speech not just relevant to Filipinos, but also to the international community, especially those under authoritarian regimes. Her message was clear. True leadership is about serving the people, not controlling them. At a time when democracy was under threat in many countries, Aquino's voice stood out as a reminder that freedom must be constantly defended, not with weapons, but with unity, integrity, and hope. In the conclusion, Cory Aquino's 1986 address to the U.S. Congress was more than a gesture of diplomacy. It was an act of national pride, an emblem of a nation finding its voice after a decade of silence under dictatorship. In the speech, Aquino demonstrated to the Philippines has obtained for peace, not for violence, democracy and not for dictatorship, and hope, not fear. Her message embraced the people power spirit, ordinary people bringing about extraordinary change. In the modern world, even as democracy is still being threatened in many parts of the world, Aquino's message remains powerful. It reminds us that the people's power, when activated and motivated by the love for the nation, can really alter the tide of history.